Hey guys, it's John here again. Right, video response I've wanted to do for a while to Cloudy Moulder, and that's the my buying habits, or as he put them, irrational. I don't. My buying habits have always been, I wanted everything by whatever a band has released, and I've already said that in my videos in the last few months or so, that I was trying to finish off my Def Leppard and my Whitesnake collection, right down to trying to get every single song that was released on vinyl or CD officially, and trying to get the ones that are unofficial as well. And I've got, you know, books with stuff that's unofficially released and official, so I can go by that and get whatever I need and try and trace those songs down, or EPs, singles, CDs, whatever, vinyl, cassettes and stuff, even down to video discs and stuff like that. But yeah, very hard to do. I find it can be quite expensive, because when you collect stuff like Def Leppard, there is so much to collect, and I mean, there is so much, and I think Bev would probably back me up on this. There's a lot of stuff that is very expensive and hard to get, even with eBay, and obviously she only collects the 80s sort of stuff, with anything with Steve Clark, and I collect everything else as well, and which she would laugh about anyway. But Whitesnake, I love everything that's been done, and I wanted to try and stick with just getting those two bands, the whole discography. Obviously there's other bands that I love. My top 10 bands, or top 15 bands, there's loads of things in there that I'd love to just have all of their singles and stuff that was released, all the rare picture discs, all the I just love the physical aspect of it, and to have bigger versions and all the limited edition stuff, it's just like, hell yeah, just very cool. So I tend to go down that route with my buying. And if I see something with the name, it used to be where if I saw something with the name Def Leppard, Whitesnake, stuff like that, I would buy it, even if it was a little pin badge, or you know, a magazine that even had the name on. If I saw a magazine that was out one week and it didn't have any of those bands in, I wouldn't buy it. If it just had Def Leppard and it had a small article, and I'd buy the whole magazine just for that small article. I will one day show a little scrapbook of articles and that are made up with my my son a long time ago, and show what we got stuff from eBay. We bought loads of cuttings and stuff, and then we had other stuff in magazines, and made it into a scrapbook, and I still have that folder, and it was anything to do with the bands. I was just crazy about and obsessed by collecting that stuff. Not so much now. I tend to just try and stick with buying the records, buying the CDs, the cassettes for those two bands, and that's it. It still applies with my top 15 bands that I try and collect all of their albums on vinyl and CD. But any other bands outside that circle, I just want it on CD, and that's it. CD is an easier format to look after, easier to keep in good condition. I don't need to have every single format that, say, a band like Dokken have done, or you know, or say Rat or Led Zeppelin or anything like that. I don't need to have every single format of everything they've done. I'm happy with just the CDs. Something I can just stick on quickly, and you know, there's things in my collection I've regretted selling. There's I've sold some Iron Maiden stuff in the past and I regretted it now. Obviously I look back and go, what the hell, why did I get rid of that? But I've had a long hard think about some of my collection and thought some of this really does need to go. The odd record that's sitting there next to other records is just out of place, and I know it's going to take me ages and a hell of a lot of money to find and fill out that collection, and I've just got so many other priorities with the other bands that I love so much that I don't ever see myself going and collecting everything by, say, a band like Halloween. This is probably the only record I have, except from a 7-inch. Yes, I will at some point get the first few albums, because there are quite a few songs on there that I think, oh yeah, they're really cool. I love this song, I Want Out. I love that song. That's definitely my favourite Halloween song, and I've got the picture of this. So, oh yeah, this one has got Save Us and Don't Run for Cover on the other side. I think that picture of this was really cool. But yeah, unless someone comes along my way and says, John, I've got all these Halloween picture discs and albums and stuff like that, that'll be the only way, and you can have them, or you can give us a tenner, you can have the whole collection. I'd like to snap their hand off, but I still probably wouldn't go out and buy every single thing that they've done. But I'm trying to just say that I'm obsessed with the physical of two bands, and I'd love to get I'd love to finish off all of my Judas Priest, my Wasp, Queensryche, Scorpions and stuff like that. I don't think I'll ever finish off those bands though, to the extent that I've finished off Def Leppard and Whitesnake. I'd like to be still doing all my Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, and who else? My Heart collection, Megadeth, stuff like that. But again, Megadeth, every time I see Frankie hold up different editions of picture discs of Megadeth, and I'm like, my jaw just drops. I go, the tongue comes out. I'm like, wow. I just don't see that stuff where I live. and it was quite strange because when I watched his last video, he showed No More Mr. Nice Guy 12-inch single, and he said it was like gold dust type thing. You know, he'd never sees that anywhere. It was like a grail to him. And being a Megadeth fan, I thought, oh my god, that was the very first one I got, and it was so easy. I actually found another one not long after it. So it depends where you live, I suppose. But yeah, that was the only Megadeth 12-inch single or Megadeth vinyl I ever owned for a very long time. And but yeah, I'd love more Megadeth, and I want to go down and collect that stuff as well. But yeah, I'd like to give up a lot of my other stuff to be able to have room to fill out the other main stuff that I collect. When it comes to stuff like reissues and stuff, I really don't. I'm not really fussed if it's. I would prefer the original, as long as it's in really great condition, like most people would prefer. Reissues, I don't like the sleeves because they make them so crap these days, and some of them blurry, some of them just look like photocopied, blown up CD covers. Like I looked at the Judas Priest reissues, like some of the new ones. Okay, yes, I do have a new Painkiller, but that's just because it was very cheap. But I've seen some of the other stuff, and I thought, oh my god, that looks terrible compared to the original. The Iron Maiden stuff is much better, I think, but Judas Priest, no. I do have 2 newer Judas Priest, and all that is actually is. I used to have an OG copy of Sad Wings, and I got rid of it because I thought I was going to get a better copy, and I didn't. I shouldn't get rid of that now. But I've got a new issue of that, a new issue of Turbo, the 30th one, new one of Painkiller, and a new one of Point of Entry. That's the only ones, because I just don't see those records anywhere, except from eBay and Discogs. But also my buying habits are, I actually enjoy a single, especially a limited edition one. I find that more of a thrill to get and find than I do an album. I don't know if anybody else feels like that, because we all know that, you know, unless they release something on Record Store Day, you ain't going to get those singles 12 inches or 7 inches again. So if you can get them now, they're going to go up in price at some point. And I get more of a thrill when I find a 12-inch single than I do a record, an album. Something like this here, you know, what are we looking at now? When I found this, stuff like this, right? When I come across that, I nearly fell over, right? When I came across that on red vinyl, I had heart palpitations. When I went out and bought that online, I didn't get any of that feeling. I didn't even get the feeling when I opened it, when it came. That's a new issue, right? I wouldn't even get that feeling if I bought the album, an OG copy. When I went out, and this is the last single by Wasp that I got, that I found, right? This just gives you an idea of what I mean by that. if I go into a record shop and I find, say that there, I go, that's cool, yeah, it was Last Command. But if I go into a record shop and I see this sitting there in the rack, the heart goes boom, 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 boom. I can't breathe properly, and I'm going, quick, that's on my pile. I'm like, that blows me away in there, because that is one very hard to get in good condition anyway, and you know you're not going to find that as much as you will the album. So when I go into a record shop and I come across a poster one of, you know, Forever Free, and I'm like, cool, yes, awesome. Or even like a promo of Mean Man 12-inch, I go, heart palpitations. And I'm like, that's what it's like for me. I get that rush a hell of a lot more when I find something, especially if it's a 12-inch single, than I do an album. That's my, and I get quite, I'm like, if I find loads of them 12-inch singles of any band, I'm like, that's all mine. And I'm still shaken like a leaf. I'm like, the shakes are coming on, and I'm like, gotta get to the till, pay for these, they're mine, all mine, these are mine. And I walk out the shop with the biggest smile on my face, right? And I would get that more, right, than going into the shop and picking up an album. And I don't know if people get that, but I get it. And if someone says to me, John, I've got some singles for sale, even 7-inch, I'm going, boof, boof, I've got to see them. Doof, 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 doof. Other people would be like, I don't want that, I want the album. You know, I've given away albums before I've given away 7-inch singles or 12-inch singles, because I know that the 12-inch singles and 7-inch singles are, people do give them away. They're cheaper in some ways, but they just do it more for me. Like, what else could we say? I got more excited when I found this, right? If I can find it. No, it's not there. I thought it might be, but it's not. Nope, that's not there. Right, give you another sort of idea. It's like, you know, stuff like this. So obviously Megadeth, I get excited when I see that, right? But not as excited as I get when I find stuff like that there, like a 7-inch picture disc of, oh, that's Hangar 18 there, and my original copy of No One Was a Nice Guy 12-inch, and my other one there, my later copy. But yeah, and that's got Demon Bell on it, which is by Dangerous Toys. And then Different Breed by Dead On is on there as well. And then I find stuff like that and I'm like, hell yeah, awesome, very awesome. That's what, I think I've explained it now. But yeah, there you go. But like I said, I have got so many records that I do not want anymore. It's insane how many there is, and I am really struggling with putting them all on eBay. I really am not enjoying putting them on eBay for some reason. I'm fed up of being messed around on eBay. So it looks like I might end up keeping my stuff and doing some record fairs in Guernsey and putting all of it, a lot of it in. So that's going to be my thing, because people haven't really said to me, "Oh John, you got a record there, would you take such and such for it?" I more or less would have said, okay, yeah, you can have it for that, but I haven't, you know, you can always come down in price, you can't go back up. So if my prices are at a price, and someone says, "Oh John, would you take a couple of quid off of that, or 3 or 4 quid?" I go, yeah, hell yeah, just, you know, on some stuff, obviously. But yeah, that's my buying. CDs I love more than records, obviously. Some people won't get that, but they will when they start having to keep faffing around with records all the time, and it can be a pain in the butt. Clean them, you know, they get damaged very easily. So I tend to keep mine in. They get very rare that they get played a lot, and I think it's nostalgic. I like it for the nostalgic reasons as well. But yeah, other than that, I think I am impulsive when I buy. Yes, if I see a record that I've already got and it's at a very good price, and I know that I could get a lot more money for it if I ever wanted to sell it, which I'll never ever do anyway, I will still buy it. And that's why I end up with about 4 or 5, maybe 10 copies of the same record, or even 17 copies of the Final Countdown, stuff like that. If I see records that I know are going to be thrown away, they're in a charity shop and I know that they're in amazing condition, it might not necessarily be somebody that I would really listen to, but it could be a rock artist or a metal artist, I will still pick them up, because I know that they'll come to my house, they'll be put in a sleeve, they'll be put with other records and kept in good condition. So that's why I have so many copies. And for 50p at most charity shops, or 25p that I get them for, you couldn't even buy a bar of chocolate for 50p these days. So I see it as an investment later on anyway. That's the end of my video. So I hope that made you realise what my buying habits are. Impulsive, and like records to go to a good home. And I'm not fussed about having more than one copy. So yeah, there you go. See you later.